Good morning, everyone. Give it a few more moments and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, everybody, we'll go ahead and kick things off. First of all, good morning and greetings from a fabulous spring day here in Chicago. I think it's about 70 degrees and sunny outside already. So, for those of you who are local and are choosing to spend your time with us this morning instead of being outside, I greatly appreciate it. We'll make sure today's informative and engaging for you. So, welcome to the first webinar in our series of meetings that is going to be introducing the Cohesion Smart Workplace solution. In each installment, we're going to be showcasing the use cases and supporting capabilities of the Cohesion platform to help you transform your workplaces into smart, connected, and sustainable spaces. So today, we're going to focus in on a use case that I think each of us is managing in some way, either directly or at least participating in as we speak, and that is deploying technology to support a hybrid work strategy. We found that our customers are by and large committed to an in-office strategy to maintain their company cultures, to encourage collaboration, to foster innovation, and they are consistently examining and evaluating their physical spaces to make sure that they have the right space, that they have the right tools, and that they have the right data to support their strategies. Um, uh, Ultimately, our customers turn to Cohesion to gain exactly that. We provide a platform to understand office utilization and manage users from the cloud, to provide a smarter and better mobile keycard and visitor access experience, and to allocate desks and other reservable spaces in the best possible way, and ultimately to give our customers a data-driven solution to understand office utilization. So, with that, let's show how we're doing it. So first, let's start with user management. So what you can see on the screen here is on the left-hand side, the Cohesion platform. On the right-hand side is your standard interface with an access control system with which we have integrated. The first thing that we found is our customers need a solution that works well with both on-premises and cloud access systems. A rip and replace is rarely in order when you're trying to introduce new capabilities. So the Cohesion platform is designed to be flexible to work with whatever configuration you already have. Also, you need to be able to manage users from, right? Increasingly, all of our customers are doing more with less. Their teams are at least staying the same size, generally not growing. And being able to allow more people, including department heads or other administrative professionals, to manage their own team's rosters from the cloud greatly increases the flexibility of the platform. So what you see here is real-time bidirectional integration. In this example, we're creating users in one platform, you're seeing it appear in the other. We're editing users in one platform, and that's updating in real time. And what this means is that your systems are always in sync. You're able to update your system either from your workstation, if that's what you're comfortable with, or from the Cohesion platform, which in many cases you'll find your department heads, your administrative professionals, and other users are more comfortable with a cloud solution. But those things are always in sync, and you're always able to manage your users from wherever you are. And what this does is it reduces complexity, it increases flexibility, and it gives you a hybrid cloud strategy to meet both your operational requirements as well as your security objectives. Moving along. So, I think we've all at some point had experience with a mobile keycard deployment. And when done properly, this is a tremendous asset. It drives user satisfaction. It also makes your offices easier to control and maintain access with. But if done improperly, this can be a burden. It can be a hurdle to clear. And I think what we've all found is that often the hardest part about a mobile credential deployment is just getting the credential into everybody's device. And what the Cohesion platform does is vastly simplifies that experience and makes provisioning self-service and one touch. So what you can see on the screen here is that a user has been added to the Cohesion platform. They've had their clearance rights assigned either from Cohesion or from the underlying access control system, as you saw on the previous screen. They've logged in, and now on day one, they're hitting that tap to configure button that you can see there in the center of the screen. And what this does is the Cohesion platform is operating in the background. We are confirming your clearances and your identity via the access control system. And we are speaking with the card reader SDK in real time to validate your credential and then to install it onto your device, which you see there. So what this does is this removes a lot of operational inefficiencies, right? There's no card reader portal that you need to go to update a user. You don't have to manage users from multiple different places and make sure that they're all in sync. You simply add the user to the platform and they provision their credential and now they have it. And what you can see here is that makes Bluetooth provisioning extremely simple. To take this a step further, in instances where a location wants to support NFC credentialing and add the convenience of an Apple Wallet deployment, the Cohesion platform is capable of doing that as well. So a iOS user would take the simple additional step of taking that mobile credential, clicking Add to My Wallet, and then Cohesion pushes that credential to the Apple Wallet. So that user now has the speed, the security, and the convenience of an Apple Wallet NFC credential, employee badge that they can use however they want to use. So what this has done is it's reduced your administrative burden with the one-touch provisioning, and it's increased user satisfaction by allowing users to self-provision on their device, or if they get a new device, or for whatever reason they have deleted the application, they don't have to go ask a security professional. They can simply add this back to their own device. So moving along, now we've got your users managed from the cloud or from your workstations. Users have been able to provision their own mobile credentials so they can access their workplaces conveniently and using their own devices. Now we need to get visitors into the workplace. All right, so what this is in addition to an important capability and security feature, it's an opportunity to consolidate your tech stack with Cohesion. By using our native visitor management and access platform rather than needing to continue to purchase and pay for another system that is just solving one solution. So what you can see here is that you can schedule visitors. You can receive arrival notifications whenever they either scan a mobile credential via a QR code or are checked in by building security. You can see that you can assign access clearances. So for users that are permitted to do so, they can make sure that visitor is able to access the spaces that they will be visiting. You can manage watch lists, and you can also validate data and analytics around what your visitor frequency is, around what your volume is, and around whom is visiting your workplaces. So now that we've managed the access credentials, we've managed the ability to access your spaces, provision your mobile key, and get your visitors to where you need to go. Now we can help you have a way to better utilize the reservable spaces and maximize the footprint that you currently have through our resource reservation platform. So in this case, we're talking about desks and conference rooms. And you'll see here that you're able to do this through both our web and our mobile platform. And what this does is it helps you understand utilization, of course, but it also makes it really easy for your employees to manage a hybrid schedule where they're not always going to the same desk every week or every day. They're not always using the same conference rooms, but they have all of that available to them in whatever way that they want to interact with those spaces. So what you're seeing here is our web platform, where a user is maybe planning tomorrow's office visit, right? So they're going to be from 7:30 in the morning through 5. They got a full day ahead of them. Maybe they're not as familiar with the office footprint as they once were. They're not in all the time. So they're going to go ahead and click that button that says reserve it via floor plan. And what you can see here is we help you visualize your office. We help map out the reservable spaces they're in. So that way that user can take a look and see where their friends are going to be working. Maybe they want to make sure that they're working from the sales area instead of the accounting area. So that way they can be talking to the people they want to talk to, and they have the most productive day that they possibly can. Additionally, on the back end of this, we give your office administrators the ability to manage those reservations. So maybe your salesperson accidentally reserved a space over in the accounting section, and you want to move them over and notify them that that move has been made. We're able to do that for you. Additionally, you can now begin to understand exactly which spaces are seeing the most use and exactly which spaces aren't. I think many of us have been asked, all right, show of hands, who's coming in next week? Um, uh, uh, Managers are often asked, hey, can you help us understand which of your employees are in with the most frequency and what spaces they're using? Here, you don't need anecdotal evidence. We're able to provide that data to you so that way you can make decisions using actionable insights. Another use case on this front, though, is perhaps a employee has come into the office. They're standing next to a colleague, and there's an open desk next to them, and that's where they want to work for today. So what we're showing you here is through the mobile platform, you're able to quickly validate availability. So in this case, they're checking out today for the time frame that they want to visit. They can see that they're standing next to standing desk 35. And you'll see that there's a reserve now button. So that way that user is able to very quickly identify the desk that they want to work from. They're able to validate that it's going to be available for the time that they're going to be in the office, and then they're able to reserve it with just a few clicks. So what this does is it increases user satisfaction. It helps drive adoption by making by providing a really intuitive interface for your users, and importantly, you're capturing the data behind how that office is being utilized. So let's round this out with a discussion around data utilization. So what I'll go ahead and do here is show you our web interface to help you understand how we provision this information. So what we found is that many of our security professionals that are using our platform are often asked in some ways, can you please help me understand what our occupancy is in our workplace? And the Cohesion platform approaches this from a number of different directions. So what you can see here is our real-time occupancy dashboard. The screen that is currently up now is actually pulling data from occupancy sensors. So through our IoT integration platform, we're able to incorporate sensor-driven data, which helps you understand real-time occupancy. This can address total office occupancy, multiple offices occupancy, as well as heat mapping and utilization data. The next screen that you're going to see here is actually pulling data from our access control integration. So while this doesn't provide real-time information, what you do start to understand is what work groups or what organizations are here with what frequency. You can also understand check-in periods as well as high-level occupancy rate KPIs. In between these two, you really start to get a great sense of what is my real-time occupancy, what is my work group occupancy, and how is my office being utilized. And then lastly, what you'll see is through our data export functionality, you can pull whatever data sets for whatever location and whatever time period you want to pull. So if you want to understand desk utilization, if you want to understand conference room reservations, if you want to understand occupancy or Sensa data, you can do so with great granularity and simply export that to Excel or CSV. So that way, your data scientists or whomever is in charge of data analysis for your workplace is able to pull that information, ingest it, and then visualize that in the way that they see fit. So what you can see from this set of solutions is an ability to manage users from the cloud, regardless of your existing infrastructure, to provision mobile credentialing in a way that's easier, better, and smarter than in many cases the existing workflow that you have today, to assign and allocate and manage desk and conference room reservations, and then most importantly, have access to the data that all of those capabilities are generating. So that way you can better understand how your workplaces are being utilized, how your footprint is contributing to the success of your hybrid work strategy, and what changes or additional tools you might need in order to deliver on that. So I'll go ahead and stop now, and we can go ahead and open it up for questions.
All right. Hi, everyone. You can't see me, but I'm Ariana Antonacci. I'm here in the room with Taylor, and I'm going to help him sift through some of these questions because we've had quite a few come in. So we'll just start with the top. What trends are you seeing on the adoption of mobile credentialing lately?
Yeah, that's a great question. What we're seeing is a significant uptick in both an interest in and in the deployment of mobile credentialing. And one of the things that we found is that the previous barriers to a mobile credential deployment were infrastructural. You didn't have a tool that was flexible to work with multiple access control systems or multiple card reader types. And the provisioning aspect, as we talked about before, was just really difficult. So what we've seen is as we've been able to simplify that, and with the introduction of NFC, Apple Wallet, employee badge management, both interest in and adoption of mobile credentialing is just skyrocketing. I think it's safe to say that's really the way forward for the industry, and it's really going to drive user satisfaction and adoption as we continue to scale it. Great question.
Okay, and kind of on the same vein with access control systems, which systems do you work with?
Well, that's another good question. I think every security or IT professional would like to have standardized across one platform across all places. That's not always the case, though, right? Rip and replace can be expensive, and at times you need to, where businesses are always acquiring new businesses or merging with other entities that may have a different technology stack, and then you find yourself in kind of that assimilation period, right, where you maybe are off spec in a significant number of locations, which is why Cohesion maintains the industry's largest access control integration library. We ensure that whatever system you're using, so long as it's integratable, we are compatible and able to integrate with. And if one of our providers happens, or one of our customers happens to have a provider that we have not integrated with previously, we maintain that capability on staff to work directly with that provider to execute the new integration and ensure that you have full capabilities and scope of what we want to create. So that's a long way of saying entirely flexible with whatever your existing infrastructure is. So that way you can leave that infrastructure in place and standardize user management and mobile key provisioning using our platform.
Awesome. And then we do have another question. How do you ensure that the platform itself is secure?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, in addition to maintaining industry standard security stances, including SOC 2 compliance and kind of other capabilities, what we do is we're entirely compatible with either an on-prem or a cloud-based solution. Right, as I think I mentioned at the top of the call. So we use secure devices to be able to securely integrate our cloud platform with an on-prem system or direct API integrations with cloud providers to ensure that whatever our customer security stance is, we're able to be accretive to that and participate in it and still provide those capabilities. So we work with the security teams to make sure that our solution works within their ecosystem kind of in those different ways.
Okay. So does it work for multiple sites, or how can they use it between different either building locations or workplaces?
Yeah, that's also a great question. So yes, this is an enterprise grade solution. Essentially, what we do for multiple site deployments is we pull all of those sites into the cloud, so that way from one place you can manage user rights and mobile credentialing and desks, et cetera, regardless of what the integrations are at that site. So typically we'll see location A has access control A, card reader A. Location B has access control B, maybe card reader B, right? What we do is we normalize that experience. And then through what we call a roles and permissions based platform, a user can have access rights that are vastly different at both of those locations. Maybe my home office, I'm an administrator and I'm able to manage a roster of people in addition to access all spaces within that location. I can reserve any desk I want. But maybe at location B, I'm just it's a place I travel once a month, right, for my monthly meeting. So I have a more limited set of access clearances. I can do maybe can't administrate users in that space, and we're able to manage that complexity just by simply creating roles for each of those locations and assigning me to the right role that has the right permissions for each feature. So it's fully configurable based on the needs of your portfolio. And whatever security or kind of user management needs you have across those different locations.
Awesome. So we'll move on to some of the data aspect of this. We have a few questions come through. So first of all, what data points do you collect for occupancy insights, and then what sources are you pulling from? And kind of on that same vein, how do you ensure that those systems work? especially, let's say like occupancy sensors. How does that affect data accuracy?
No, that's a great question. And, you start with your data is only as good as your inputs, right? Which is why the approach that we take is we maintain a significant integration library, not just of access control systems and card readers, but also of IoT devices. Because the use cases are varied. We found that some customers just want to understand how many people are in the building or how many people are in the office. There may be other use cases where you want to understand things like, is anybody in conference room A, which has a number of kind of different derivatives of that. You may want to understand, compare actual utilization data of, did anybody sit at desk number 3 last week and how many times was it reserved? And you can get as granular as that. So what we do is we maintain a library of sensor providers that solve for kind of all those varied use cases. But we also are open to integrations with new systems. Many of our customers have made investments in various IoT platforms that they've deployed at scale, and it doesn't make sense for them to remove those, right? So what we do is we help them assess the capabilities of the API or other integration kind of solution that those sensor providers offer, and then help them create the kind of the data extraction capability that they need. And then the way that we generally provide that information is through the screens that we were able to look at earlier. So occupancy can be through access control to understand kind of work group or company level data points, as well as key in information. Sensors can provide that real-time element. And then exportable data can be exactly that, right? Exported and then combined with other data sources, either through the Cohesion platform or through other systems to kind of create the level of understanding that you need to create. So that's how we help our customers kind of put together the right solution. We can recommend IoT devices, we can integrate with your devices, and then we provide kind of native data through other interactions through the platform.
Absolutely. And just to kind of add to that, as someone who's gotten pretty close to our occupancy data lately, I love that you brought in access control and the idea that your outputs are only as good as your inputs. And that's so true. And I think kind of bringing it back to mobile key card, that is such a driver for adoption that the more people you have using mobile key card, the more reliable your occupancy data can become using access control, because that is non-transferable. You're not using it for multiple people. You're not losing it. You're not misplacing it. So I found that digging through our occupancy data has been incredibly reliable because we have that method of adoption for all of our buildings.
Couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. Okay, well, that's all the questions we had come through. So if there's nothing else, Taylor, I'll let you take it away.
I just want to say thank you again for your time today. I hope you found it to be informative, and we look forward to the next installment in our series of sharing the Cohesion workplace solution with all of you. Thank you so much.